Statistical Analysis. This podcast, number 83, is at the intermediate level. It requires a working knowledge of Accordance Bible software, but no knowledge of Hebrew or Greek. Love trivia? Then this podcast is for you. I loved Bible trivia as a kid. My parents bought me a Dake's Annotated Reference Bible when I was 12, a resource still available in Accordance. My favorite thing about that study Bible was that it contained tables at the end of every book of the Bible. They listed how many chapters, how many verses and words each book contained. Well, today, we're going to have fun gathering similar statistics. In the process, we'll explore some useful techniques for all kinds of statistical research in the Bible. In this podcast, we'll use the search symbol asterisk, the wildcard, which finds every word, or technically, every text string. We'll also make use of one of the search conditions we covered in podcast number 82, scope. We can access it by clicking the plus sign on the right side of the search entry box. Think of it as adding a condition. The search entry section will expand, then we simply choose scope from the drop-down menu, then any one of these choices in the secondary menu. This limits the search to a verse, clause, sentence, paragraph, chapter, or even book, whichever one we happen to select. We'll also use 4 different search commands. Within, which specifies the distance between words or search elements. Link, which duplicates the search entry argument from the primary zone. Count, which finds words that appear a specific number of times. And field, which allows users to specify the beginning or end of the current search scope. We'll be working entirely in English in this episode, so we won't be covering our various tagged texts. However, I do want to mention here that the count command also has special functions for use with tagged texts. Add the modifier =K, and we can use text tagged with key numbers. This modifier orders Accordance to search for keywords that appear a certain number of times. There are also 2 modifiers for use with grammatically tagged original language texts. =I searches for inflected forms, rather than lemmas, which is Accordance's default in original language texts, while =T finds specific grammatical tags that appear a certain number of times. In every case, we need to be sure to replace the question mark with a number or range of numbers we want to find. In order to tabulate our statistics, we'll use Accordance's analytics. We access them using this icon, which will only appear once we've run a search. Click on it, and this drop-down dialog menu appears. Now, we won't try to use all of these tools today, just 3 of them: the hits graph, the analysis, and the table. What do they do? The hits graph plots average hits over the search range. The analysis lists and sorts hit words, giving total hits for each word. And the table divides hits by book and chapter, either by total or average hits. Now that we've got all these preliminaries out of the way, let's do some research. First, I'll switch to searching by words instead of verses. Then I'll type in the asterisk, which will search for every word in this text. Click Return, and Accordance begins searching. We can see that there are 790,868 words in the King James Version. Let's use Accordance's analytics to get a more detailed breakdown. If we select Analysis, Accordance opens a zone like this. It tells me that it found hits in 31,218 verses and that the number of different words is 13,760. Since the sort is set to alphabetical, Accordance has sorted them from A to Z, listing the number of times each word is found in the text. If I switch to count down, Accordance sorts them in ascending order, showing me the most common word in the King James Bible is "the," with no capitalization at 62,172, followed by the uncapitalized "and" at 38,863. Now let's open the table, which breaks out these words book by book. They're sorted here in canonical order, but I can change the display by typing Command T. I'll do that and change the sort to Total Hits. Now the book with the largest number of words is at the top of my list. I can even specify chapter level detail, which I'll do now. And here's a list of every chapter in the Bible, sorted by the total number of words in each one. Let's try another kind of statistical research. First, we'll also open up the New Living Translation directly from the library. Now it opens into a tab, but I think I'd rather display it in its own zone, so I'll drag it, just like this. This time, we'll search for words that occur a specific number of times in the Bible. We do this using the count command. In this case, we'll look for only the words that appear once in the King James Version. I want to do the same search in the NLT so I can compare them, but rather than searching that text separately, we're going to use the link command. Now I'm going to hit return here and explain this new command while the search runs. The link command simply duplicates whatever search we enter in the search source argument box in the link text. Now this is actually a fairly lengthy search, as Accordance has to search each of these texts separately for those words occurring but once in the entire text. Now we can already see some of the differences between these translations, but let's look a little deeper. We'll open an analysis pane for each text and move them next to their corresponding texts. Again, we just click and drag on the header bars of each of these panes. Notice that the analysis shows an alphabetical list of the unique words in each text. The most glaring difference between the two is that the NLT uses actual numbers, whereas the King James Version writes out those figures with words. Now, let's run a new search, and it's here that we'll see the power of the link command. All we have to do is to change the search in the source pane. Let's say we want to look for all the words that appear only 7 times in the Bible. I'll change it here, then hit return. Since the two searches are linked, Accordance again searches both texts. In this final exercise, we're going to look for words that begin verses. First, we'll add a search condition using the plus icon. We'll select Scope, then check to make sure it's set on verses. We're also going to use the asterisk in this search, but we're going to combine it with 2 other commands. Within, which specifies how close 2 items have to be, we're going to say just one word, and Field, which specifies the beginning or end of a field. We'll pick Begin. We can see from the highlighted words, Accordance has found every word that begins a verse. If we open an analysis pane, we can get a list of all the words that begin verses. And now, just for fun, let's see which words begin verses most often. Not surprisingly, in the King James Version, that word is and. Now, let's switch the scope to chapter, which will allow us to search for words that begin chapters in the Bible. There it is, and notice that the analysis pane automatically updated to reflect the new search. Well, we've kind of played around with these statistics today. The same techniques can be useful in studying the more important issues of the Bible. How many times does the word love appear? In which book and in which chapter does it appear most often? Where does the word first appear in the Bible? And where does it appear the last time? Statistical research is just one more technique we can use to explore the Bible and its message. So enjoy. This has been Dr. J for Accordance Bible Software. Thank you for watching this episode of Lighting the Lamp.